Okay, let's go. How are we doing? Huh? What is it? It's Monday, right? And we got hockey tonight. It's unusual. We got hockey tonight, and then hockey early in the morning, and then nothing on Tuesday and nothing on Wednesday. So what do we get? It's 48 degrees. It's too windy outside. It's cold. Ah, but at least we're not in last place. Let's get these standings going. I knew that there was something I wanted to get going. So how are we doing? Let's see what we got. Fossey, how you doing? Tonight is a must win. We needed 4 points on this trip. That's still possible. So yeah. James says, call me crazy, but Sabrango Petrie has been our best defensive pair, or at least Ekblad Forsling has seemingly been our worst. I'm more worried when they're on the ice than I am with the bottom pair. It feels so backwards. Well, keep in mind the competition, right? So I'm not sure how many minutes a night. Let's see. Let's see how many minutes a night Petrie's been getting. So not a lot. He's been getting 14.49 a night, right? So then when you put Forsling's getting 22 minutes a night against top competition. So we're doing a pretty good job of not exposing the Petrie Sabrango. I like Sabrango, no doubt. And Forsling and Ekblad certainly have had their share of struggles, but they do tend to be out there against the other teams, top players too. Hey, Jameson, yeah, we got Vegas tonight, man. Let's finish this up on a good note. Steven says, I'm not so sure what Maurice is thinking. Ekblad can absolutely not be out there with the goalie pulled. He has zero speed. That I will agree 100%. I don't know why we put Ekblad out there when the goalie is pulled. But you know me. I hate having a goalie pull in the first place. Hey, Miss Jaws, how we doing, huh? What are you doing home, Miss Jaws? James says, I'd almost like to give Sabrango a look on the power play. I think maybe in time you'd see that. I mean, he doesn't even have 10 NHL games in him yet. So yeah, I think that that's a possibility at some point. Hey, so Flo, yeah, the Miami Dolphins have won their Super Bowl. Right? Mythical says we outplayed the Sharks. We just couldn't get a lucky break. Nothing was going in for us, and that's we certainly couldn't get any lucky breaks. We certainly got no puck luck, but 5 power plays. 5 power plays. It's give me 2 points against Vegas, and let's just call it a trip, Hey, Mike, good. Y'all's cat team sucks. We'll be okay. Miss Krabs says no excuses for this. Maurice should be making adjustments. So I've thought about that a little bit. As much as I would like to sit here, you guys know I like to bitch, moan, groan, complain, and make suggestions for the coaches to do this, do that, do this. If the actual genuine issue is simply that some of these guys are out of gas, there's no adjustments that we're going to make that's going to fix that. You know what I mean? I do like that he's kept the lines pretty much the same. You can't break up Lundell, Lustrine, and Marchand, and Bennett was not cutting it with Verhaeghe and Reinhardt. So, yeah, could you sit Boquist and put somebody else in? Sure. But there's no magic bullets. The magic bullets are Kachuk and Barkov and Kulikov and Nosik. Perhaps you can't stand watch Petrie play. Petrie's been a little bit better, though. I have to say, what? This is weird. My thing is saying I'm the only one here in the studio. Of course, I want to stay in the studio. Oh, what am I not live? It never went live? Okay, let's try this again. What'd you say? This was weird. So I went live, and I don't know if I got kicked off through StreamYard or whatever. But let's try this again. I went live, and it said I was live, and then all of a sudden it just kicked me off and said I needed to start the stream again. So I have no idea what just happened. That was wild. So Stefan, I was talking with you guys and everything in the chat. Let me go to the bottom of the chat. I'm definitely not like, that's wild. That's wild because I clicked go live and it went live and it said you're live. And then about a minute ago, it said, hey, do you still want to go live? And Donna says I was live. That was wild. Donna says I was live. All right, well, that's why. And then some of you guys are saying I was, and some people are saying I wasn't. Now that's crazy. Hopefully it stays. That's crazy. I'll have to go back. But here it says I've only been live for a minute and a half. But some of you have been watching me for about 5 or 6 minutes. Huh? I was live, huh? And Donna says I was. I don't know what happened, but you guys know me. You guys know if there's a tech issue that could happen, it'll hit me. Okay, so we're gonna try this again now. We'll try this again. Hold on a second.
Mike said he was just kidding.
What?
The one guy that said you weren't live, Mike, he said he was just kidding.
Oh, but the thing is if you look at it says I've only been live for, so I clicked go live and I went live and you saying I was live.
You were.
And then all of a sudden on the StreamYard, it said, hey, you're the only one in the studio. Do you want to still stay around? And when I look back at my thing, it said go live. Like
I was there the whole time.
That's wild.
Mike was just kidding. He was the only one who said you weren't. He was just kidding.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened.
You're good.
But I'm good now. So
Hockey.
Okay, let's try this again. So Bucks Race says it shows 7 minutes live. All right, so then you guys at least heard what I said, and we'll try this again. So James says tonight could be tough. Vegas is going to be pissed after getting thrashed by the Ducks. Not to mention we beat them in the last game. I'm pretty sure they're not fixing for us to beat them in their own barn. Yeah, let's look at what we got here standing wise. That was weird, man. I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. Dave says, okay, Jaws, I often feel dead at my job, especially on the inside. I hear you. Man. So, here we go. Here we go. It is November 11th, or November 10th, excuse me, and we are way down here. And by ourselves, by the way. So, the Bruins are in second place for frickin' hell. The Senators have won a couple of games. They're in third. Then you got the Lightning. The Wings are fading a little bit. The Leafs can't do much better than the Panthers here, obviously. And then the Sabres, unfortunately, have found themselves right back in last place. Then over in the Metro, Hurricanes, Devils, Penguins starting to dip a little bit. But, Flyers, Islanders, Rangers, Capitals, and the Jackets have kind of found. So there's a few things that are getting back to a little bit normal. Here, Pittsburgh's moving down a little bit. The Wings have moved down a little bit, but this is not normal. Boston being in second place is not normal. And then over in the West, it's a little bit more. Look at the Blackhawks, eh? The Blackhawks are solidly in a playoff spot right now. The Mammoth have kind of faded a little bit. The Jets aren't doing so well. And then the Ducks, I believe 23. I believe the Ducks have the best. No, Avalanche 25. And the Ducks have 23 points. And then there's Vegas. And, they're going to be desperate for points tonight. You know, they don't want to get too far behind the Ducks. So good luck to us tonight. And then Kraken, Kings, Sharks. Sharks are better than us right now. And then I find this amusing. Canucks, Oilers, Flames. Like it's the whole Canadian basement there. And then that's not happy for you, Jameson. You don't belong. That's not good. That's not okay. Yeah, and after Vegas lost to Tampa, too. James says, oh, wait, the Ducks game against Vegas was 4-3 overtime. I thought it was worse. Yeah, no, Vegas is still going to be – they're still going to be interested. And so we got our work cut out for us tonight for sure. David says, we beat Vegas last time. We'll beat them this time. We need to. We can't just keep – we got to at least have a 500 road trip. Crab says, unless the Panthers entered the Gavin McKenna sweepstakes, can't imagine that. Vincent says, an Ekblad couldn't defend a bag of sweets from a 6-year-old. He was playing pretty well to start the season, Ekblad was. But look, I mean, like we've said, sometimes the simplest solution, the simplest explanation is the correct explanation. And when you've been to 3 straight Stanley Cup finals and you're sitting here saying, well, what's wrong with Bennett? And what's wrong with Verhaeghe? And what's wrong with Ekblad? And what's wrong with Forsling? And et cetera, it just seems to me to be abundantly clear that these guys might be a little bit gassed. And then you talk to fans of the Lightning, and they're like, yep, that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like when your team has gotten gassed after numerous trips to the finals. So Bill says everybody's horrible except for Marchand. Well, I don't know about Mackey. Actually, Marchand and especially Rodriguez. For whatever reason, Rodriguez doesn't look like he has the same amount of fatigue. Marchand, Rodriguez, Mackey's still been good. He's been better along the boards. I love him to put the puck in the back of the net. But defensively, Ekblad and Forsling especially, they just look, I don't want to make excuses, but I mean, it is what it is. You can watch the movie over and over again, and every time Quint gets eaten by the shark, and at some point you just have to admit, I think he's going to get eaten again. And sure enough, I mean, these guys just look like they could have used an extra 2 months off. And, some people might call it an excuse, and that's okay. That's fine. James says Rodriguez has only been to 2 straight Cup finals. That's a good point. That's a good point, James. That's right. That first one was Duclair. Craig says they're not gassed. They're all professionals and aren't as deep as we hope, especially with key pieces missing. Both things can be true, though, Craig. You know what I mean? Both things can be true, especially in Forsling's case. Ekblad has actually looked a little bit decent the beginning of the season. So Vincent says that's Bulls get. Okay. I know what you're trying to say. Bulls get. I like it. They feel tired of gas from playing a game. They're just lazy, and Maurice let them run the room for over 2 years. 2.5 to be exact, right? Yeah? So they're just lazy? All right. Well, what I will say is I said this in a comment earlier on one of the recaps that if you watch the first half of Maurice's first year before the forwards actually figured out just how hard they had to work, that yeah, this is exactly what it looked like. If the forwards aren't going to bust their ass in this system, then that's the way the cookie's going to crumble, the way they're playing right now. So Craig says, no, with a healthy Barkov, Chucky, and Kulikov, they'd be fine. I mean, maybe. I mean, let's put it this way. Maybe they don't. Maybe they appear to be gassed because they're having to do more than they would normally have to do. And we sat here last year and watched a lot of games where they were just kind of coasting, but with the amount of talent that they had, you could get away with that. You know what I mean? So I kind of feel like more than one thing can be true at the same time. I have a hard time watching Forsling play and thinking he's not burnt out. To me, that's the only thing he explains. He has just gotten beaten over and over and over again. Even when it's just a one-on-one situation, guys are able to just get right around him. So, I mean, at some point, I don't even mind making excuses. It's like, well, they made it to 3 straight finals. It's like and I mean, we've seen it happen to Tampa where they ran out of gas and they didn't even play full 82-game seasons. Ernest says Panthers are getting off because other teams are getting better and catching up. And that's true. That much is true. James says it's just frustrating. The Sharks were standing still under PK and Askarov was cheating towards Reinhart. Yes, but they've been doing that they've been doing that with Lundell and Barkov on that power play for years because they know that those two players especially aren't going to try to take it short side. Kachuk would, Bennett would, Marchand would, but Barkov and Lundell, they're always going to try to get that puck to Reinhart. And there's a third of the net was wide open. All Lundell had to do was put it in. Vincent says this team has 2 elite players who are different in their effort, Bob and Barkov. Plus, there's Marchand who wants to play in his 40s. It's a mindset and a level of professionalism. Yeah, Marchand's just crazy, man, in a good way. I mean, I can't believe the level of energy that guy brings every single night, I don't know where. I mean, you want to talk about last place. Forget about it. If we didn't have Marchand right now, well, we got 15. We got 15 points. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, without Marchand, that's 12 points. I mean, Marchand's been worth at least 2 or 3 points so far. There's no way around that. Buck says, yeah, don't remember. Pampa didn't play a full season, right? Well, yeah, they did play a full season the year that they lost. Yeah, it's just they didn't play full seasons every year. I try to not. I don't want anybody to think I'm putting an asterisk there. You know what I mean? Silva says we all got to remember if we don't make the playoffs, it's not a disaster. The season looks very different. If 3 key pieces weren't out long term, regroup, let the cap go up, and try again next year. Yeah, I mean, Vegas missed, right? Vegas missed a few years ago. Yeah, I know some people feel like Barkov shouldn't even come back. Well, if we don't make the playoffs, he won't. He won't come back before the playoffs anyway. So we got to make it. And realistically, like we've been saying, it's just a matter of there's so many teams now that are just mid. And every game, like tonight's games, Capitals, Hurricanes, like the Leafs are playing the Bruins again today. Damn it. Who do we root for? Or is that tomorrow? That's tomorrow. Okay. So, yeah, today's Islanders, Devils, Predators, Rangers, Blue Jackets, Oilers. But tomorrow, the Leafs are playing the Bruins again. Damn it. Who do we root for? I guess we root for no overtime. That's what we root for. Jeez, who's Montreal playing? Buffalo. Boston could end up in first place. Where's Montreal? Canadians are playing the Kings. Flames, Blues. Oh boy, that should be a barn burner. Stars, Sens, Sharks playing the Wild. Ducks playing the Avalanche tomorrow. That's going to be a good game. Late game, though, but that'll be a good game. Yeah, no overtime. Vincent says he will come back for the playoffs if the team is not in by that time, but he can't. How is he how are we going to do that, Vincent? The only way that you know the deal. If he can't come back during the regular season unless we make trades at the trade deadline. So I don't know. We're too far over the cap. Mythical says, I think we're getting spoiled. Let's see how the season goes long term. We get Chucky back soon. No doubt we're spoiled. There's no doubt. No doubt. I don't even remember the dude that started the channel because we sucked. Craig says root for Boston since the Cats play more. Can you imagine if Boston finishes at 2 and the Panthers finish at 3 and Marchand goes against the Bruins in the first round of the playoffs? That is entirely possible, by the way. Vincent says they won't forfeit playoffs for a player. I don't know. I mean, they'd have to know at the trade deadline, though. When's the NHL trade deadline? That's the thing, Vincent, is that what's the date? March 6th, right? So what your contention is, what you're saying is that if we're not in a playoff spot at the trade deadline, you think they'll move Rodriguez and Boquist if they know Barkov's going to come back? That's what you're saying? Mercenary says there's a picture of Barkov at a local park exercising without a leg brace. I mean, he's a cyborg. He's a cyborg for sure. Real says, yeah, still trying to process that the Dolphins had a better weekend than the Panthers. Oh, right. Life is weird, man. Life is weird. But we'll take it. Without a leg brace, though. That's interesting. Vincent says Boquist will be gone earlier anyway. Yeah, I would suspect that that's going to be a move that we make. I wish we would call up somebody from the AHL just to see what we got. Hey, yeah, Craig's got a good idea. Can HN skate? That's a good point. Jameson says positive energy for Barkov. James, yeah, just skating with the team. Well, that's what he told Spoelstra. Remember, he told Spoelstra he'd be back on the ice he'd be back in 5 or 6 months. The assumption being he meant back skating with the team. Now, we should be hearing about Tkachuk starting to skate with the team soon, wouldn't we? You would think that he would need at least a month skating with the team. What do you guys think? Before he would actually come back into games? Crab says that Barkov was at the Heat game recently. His leg looked fine. Well, it's not like the olden days where, I remember when Marino came back from his Achilles, he was the gimp, from Pulp Fiction, bring out the gimp. That was Marino at the beginning of that game, that Patriots game. Real says Ekblad sneaking Barkov some of that stash. It's only a 20-game suspension, right? So there's a ethical question for you guys. We've seen Ekblad get 20 games. So would they knowingly have Barkov take something and then say, okay, he's ready, but make sure that when we were saying he came back, he fails his drug test. Now he's suspended for 20 games, but miraculously those 20 games just happened to be, before the playoffs. Like, would there be a bigger penalty for that is what I'm saying. Like, could somebody just purposely do that and just take the 20-game suspension, but they be, jacked and ready to go for the playoffs? Jameson says, yeah, we should be starting to hear about Tkachuk back doing ice workouts. I figured, right? James says, I'm pretty sure Tkachuk only skated for 1 or 2 weeks with the team before the playoffs last year. Well, remember that he was still injured then. You know what I mean? He was still injured. I don't know how he did that. I don't know how he went the whole playoffs and got better as the playoffs went along with the injury that he had. Don't make any sense. So Safasi thinks Petrie is Mark Stahl 2.0. I mean, we made the cup with Stahl, though. We did make it to the cup, right? I would say in between. I would say in between Stahl and Schmidt. I don't think he's going to be as good as Schmidt was. But in our cap situation, might be the best we can do. Jameson says also we should be about a week or two out from seeing the Winter Classic jerseys. You would think that they would want them out by the time Thanksgiving came so that Kyle could buy me my jersey for Christmas. Mythical says for Barkov's timeline of return, it's very possible for him to take stuff to heal earlier, especially with so much on the line. Burned Oils, how you doing, bud? Petrie's never been too good, and is why Montreal got rid of him. Yeah, he's 37 years old. Yeah, I mean, because Schmidt was 33. There's a big gap in there. No, I think James Petrie was on he was on the Montreal team that went to the Cup during COVID, right? Am I correct there? Yeah, he played for Montreal for a while. He was with Montreal from 14-15 all the way to 21-22. So he was on that Canadiens team that made it to the Cup during COVID. Vincent says, it's crazy how the league has changed in 4 years. Ducks can win the President's Trophy Panthers style. Now, what kind of meltdown would the league be in store for if Q comes back and the Ducks win the Cup right out the box? Like, what kind of meltdown would they be in for? Because I wonder if part of the reason why they allowed him to come back is they said, well, it's Anaheim. They're not close. You know what I mean? Craig says Marshy's 37. I don't think Marshy's human, though. I don't think Marshy's human. Also, he's such a small guy that he doesn't really have as much wear and tear because it's harder to hit him. They can't find him. I can say that because I know it's true. That's what would happen to me. Yeah, Petrie just doesn't have the same talent. No, that's cool, James. Vincent says, you mean meltdown in Toronto? I don't care. They cry about everything. What if it was Q against the Panthers? What if it was Ducks against the Panthers? Wouldn't that be wild? I mean, that's a storyline. That would be a story. The NHL would not be able to bury that one. That would be like an absolute PR nightmare if it ended up Panthers versus Ducks, because they would not be able to bury that. That would be the story, man. That's be all anybody would be talking about. So they're eventually going to get there. What about Chicago with Spencer Knight, though, eh? Is Spencer Knight gonna? Where's the goalie rankings? I looked at this a couple days ago. Let's see. Looking at save percentage. So you've got Wedgwood, Dostal, Bobrovsky. No, that's not right. Those are wins, you dummies. Go by save percentage. Thank you. So Dawes for the Devils is at 968. Logan Thompson's still at 930, and then Spencer Knight's at 926. Like, Spencer Knight is in the Vezina conversation. There's no way around that. You know? There's no way around it. He's got 6 wins. Spencer Knight, Dovish, Hellebuyck, Vladar, but really, and also Kolosov, but he hasn't played enough games. Going by the games started, if you go by guys that have started like 7 or more games, you're looking at Dobish, Knight, Hellebuyck, Thompson. Shelov's not quite there. Spencer Knight's going to be in the Vezina conversation. Vincent says there's no word conversation 16 games in. No, there is if it's the next Panther, though. Vincent says maybe Calder. I'm just enjoying Spencer Knight doing well. I wanted him to do well. I like it when the trade works out for everybody. You know, it'd be interesting. You know, it'd be kind of cool if both the Panthers and Blackhawks get a cup out of that. Oh, Jameson says Coach Q versus the Blackhawks in round 1 would be good point. Well, I guess they took all that stuff into consideration when they said he could come back. Yeah, that's probably true. Craig says Q stepped into the perfect team for him, loaded with offensive talent, but regular season and playoffs aren't the same. And that, yeah, we found that out, didn't we? We found that out for sure. So we'll be all right. Now, in terms of, we're closing in on 20. We're closing in on like 20%, right? It's 20% or 25% is what? Like 18 games, I think is 25%, right? 4, 32, 72. No, so like 19, 20 games. Looking at, you know, the Panthers, I mean, Marchand's got 10 goals and 16 points in 14 games. And Lundell, there's nobody else that's a point a game. Lundell is close with 11 points in 15 games. Samoskevich is actually 3rd on the team in points. So I may be bitching and complaining a little bit. He's not putting the puck in the back of the net. The Samoskevich is 3rd on the team in points. 2 goals, 7 assists, 9 points. Reinhardt's got 7 goals and an assist. Rodriguez, 3-5. Verhaeghe, 2-5. Luosterainen, 2-5. And then Bennett's got 3 and 2. Greer's got 3 and 2. And a few other people got 1. And Tarasov's numbers are a little bit better than Bobrovsky's, but neither one of them got a 900 save percentage. So, yeah, if Lundell, Samoskevich are going to be 2-3 in points, that's going to be a tough outing. Vincent says if the Ducks and Hawks get in means Oilers and Jets being out. Let's see. If you look at the West and if you concede the Avalanche and the Stars and the Knights, the Pacific is just really what's wide open at this point. I mean, the Flames were close last year. Now they're dead last. The Oilers, who knows? The Canucks, who knows? The Sharks, I don't know if they're going to have the goaltending. And then you got Ducks, Knights, Kraken, Kings. There's the only team in the Pacific that I would point to right now and say guarantees going to make it is Vegas. And I have a hard time believing Edmonton wouldn't make it. I know that they're a little bit out right now. It's just a couple of points. I have a hard time believing that they won't make it. That's a bad goal difference. But they've started slow before. In the Central, I think Chicago's going to make it. Avalanche Stars seems to be about right. And then after that, Blackhawks, Jets, Mammoth, Wild, Preds, Blues. Like, if Spencer Knight continues to play the way he has and Bedard's playing well, there's no team that I think that's below Chicago right now that's like a guarantee is going to come up and take that third spot, in my opinion anyway. The Mammoths have cooled off a little bit. Jets have cooled off. And I don't think anybody really trusts the Wild or the Blues or the Preds. Blues are minus 19. Flames are minus 19. The East is not as bad with the goal differential. That's wild. The West has 1, 2, 3, 4 teams with a negative 10 goal differential or worse. And the East has none. Zippity doo-dah. I missed a couple comments here. Okay. James says the under 900 save percentage is because of those games we allowed under 20 shots and he gave up 2 goals. Well, the one game for Bob, he gave up like 4 and 17. Was it 4 and 17 or 5 and 17 for Bobrovsky? There was one game that was just like a 600 save percentage. It was the game against Pittsburgh where he gave up 5 goals on 17 shots, and it was a 703. It was a 703 save percentage. Yeah. Real says Tarasov has low-key been one of our best players and is getting no help. He's played 4 games and we barely scored. Imagine what our record would be if the forwards behind Marchand showed up for those 4. Yeah. No disagreement there at all. Bucks Ray says Panthers have $16.5 million playoff cap space, but that's not real. That's not real. It looks that way right now because of everybody that's on LTIR and everything. Bucks, if the Panthers are healthy, if Barkov is in and Kachuk is in and nobody else is injured, if our normal guys are healthy, we're $4.5 million over the cap. That's where we are. Vincent says, are we going to hear rumors from Pantherland about Verhaeghe trade or it'll happen out of nowhere? I don't know, man. I mean, he's got that no move. I can't imagine that's going to happen. I mean, it would solve some cap issues. There's no doubt. But I mean, look, everybody signed, right? But eventually, I think, Vincent, if there's one thing that we agree upon is that of the core guys that have signed, I would suspect it would be Verhaeghe would be the one that would be out the door first. I don't know if it's going to happen now, but at some point, attrition, guys are going to move on at some point. And I would agree that probably Verhaeghe would be the first one to go out the door. But whether or not, but with that no move, he's going to have to agree, and he holds the key, right? So my question is, could Tampa use Verhaeghe? Would the Panthers trade Verhaeghe back to Tampa? Probably not, right? That would be pretty stupid. Hey, Frank. Are you saying trade Verhaeghe for Kyrou? We need some speed and youth. The dude has declined a lot. Sorry. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but with the no move, Frank says Tippett and Krause are reportedly on the trade block. How about Tippett coming back? Now, Tippett, you guys know how I feel about Owen Tippett. how's his numbers looking? And why would Philly be looking? I mean, Krause might fit better, honestly. I mean, Tippett's got 5 goals already. He had 20 last year, 28 the year before. I wonder what the flaw is there. Why would Philly? Is he going to be owed a contract? Is he going to be owed a contract? No. Tippett's in the second year of a $6.2 million. What do you want to do for Hagee for Tippett? I don't know. And that would mean you got to go to Carter Verhaeghe and say, hey, you got to sign this piece of paper that says you're letting us trade you to the Flyers. Mike says, keep the faith, Josh. Florida's still working on getting a negative 10 goal differential. Yeah, we're trying. We're trying. James says, unless Verhaeghe himself wants out, we can't trade him because of the no movement. Right. Vincent, I understand that you can do it, but, Verhaeghe would have to agree. Craig says, Swiggy won't have any interest unless he scores again a lot soon. Bennett the same. Yes, Swaggy's shooting percentage is 5.3. Real says, do not trade Carter or anyone else in the division. I'd rather send Waddle and H-Hand to the Bills for free. Hey, Jason. No, we're not done. I feel like we still can make the playoffs. I mean, look, anything can happen. Anything can happen if they stay, but they have to start winning some games. I don't think 500 is going to cut it. And this is something I was thinking the other day. We've basically been 500 and, now we're what? 4 points out of the third position. 3 points out of a playoff spot. That doesn't sound like a lot, but playing 500, we've gone from in the third spot to now 3 and 4 points out of that. We just can't continue to lose ground that way. We have to stop the bleeding at some point here. These other teams are playing a little bit above 500, and I know that it's early to be thinking points, but Sabres are below us, that's fine, but the Leafs could still kick on at any point in time. I don't know what to think about Boston. I don't know what to think about Boston. When you win 6 in a row, they're just, 57 goals. Canadians, 57 goals in 15 games. Good grief. There's a lot of competition out there. Vincent says, would the Rangers give us Fox for Verhaeghe? But what's Fox's contract? Let me see. So, yeah. All right, so Fox gets a little bit more. He's in year 4 of 7. So who are you going to, Vincent, if you went and got Fox for Hagee, what are you going to do? Give him Mikkola? Who are you moving? Vincent, what defenseman are you moving? You're not going to put Fox on the bottom pair, are you? Because he's making 9.5. And what's Carter, like 8.7, I believe, or 7.8? So there's a little bit of a money discrepancy there. That's fine. But defensively, wouldn't you want to send somebody back? Or what are you thinking there? Real says the Giants fired Brian Daboll? Geez. Oh, well. Poor dude. Krabs says we just had to wait and see what a team is at by January. Yeah, James, there's going to be, if we miss the playoffs, we'll be looking at multiple games where it's like if we just got a point. But I don't know if we're there yet. There you go. David says it's barely November and half of y'all acting like it's over. Relax. We're not locked up today. No one's shooting at us today. Life is good. Swaggy's better than Fox in almost every aspect. Well, different, different situation, different positions, right? Verhaeghe's only making 7. Kyle's still asleep, Bucks Rays. I woke up at 3 o'clock. I couldn't sleep. I had a headache. And when I was in my room just watching some stuff, and Kyle was still up. And when I went out to get some breakfast at 4:30 in the morning, Kyle was getting into the shower. So I'm letting him sleep because I don't have any idea what time he actually finally fell asleep. Sam says Fox is worth a lot more than just a defenseman. Well, the deal he was talking about was including Verhaeghe, Sam. So the thought being, would it be Verhaeghe plus a defenseman? Well, so who would we give up? You know what I mean? But probably won't happen anyway. I wouldn't want to be, it's tough because all these guys took less money to stay. So Vincent says, I would send Ekblad, but you know how that dream works for me. I don't mind putting him at the bottom pair, honestly, if they figure out how to not give up goals with that defense. Can you imagine a Fox, Kulikov? Give me a Fox Sabrango bottom pair. I mean, Kulikov is still good, but I don't know. I like this kid Sabrango. I'm really interested to see let him play. You know what I mean? David, you missed your overnight shift. You're definitely nocturnal. Yeah. I don't mind staying up till 1, 2 in the morning sometimes. Silva says we could always try to brick and mortar the front of the net. We need to be able to put the puck in the back of the net. Yeah, you sure? Yeah, it would be the most effective way of preventing goals. That's very true. Very true. But if we look, here's the thing. Everybody's got their no move clauses. And that's right, Gadjevich. Yeah, that money that we, everybody. The whole damn team is out. It's unbelievable. So the no move clauses are Barkov, Kachuk, Reinhardt, Bennett, Verhaeghe, Marchand, Jones, Ekblad, Forsling. Mikkola did not get a no move clause. Not that I'm suggesting we move on from him, but it's interesting when you look at the money that was given out when Forsling took 5.7 and Mikkola got 5. Like, I wouldn't think that those two would be paid as close together as they are. I just don't know, that you could go to any of those guys and say, hey, sign this because we want to move you. Verhaeghe's making 7. Yeah, it was 7 million for 8 years. That's where I got the 8.7 from. Bennett's making 8. Reinhardt's 8.6. Chucky's 9.5, and Barkov with the big money at 10. Yeah, Mikkola got his deal after the cap rise. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. David says, we absolutely dominated last game, just didn't score. We keep playing like that, we'll be good to go. I don't necessarily disagree. Yeah, he has a 6-year no move clause. Yeah. Yeah, it's it is what it is, unfortunately. I'm looking to see. Yeah, that's right. And then we're looking at we still got to sign Bob. You guys don't think Does there anybody think that if we continue to play like this and we don't make the playoffs, you don't think that would have any effect on Bobrovsky's on our desire to extend Bobrovsky? Would you? I was disappointed it hasn't happened yet. David says it's actually fortunate we want the guys we have. Yeah. Craig says Bob could retire. Huh. Sam, but you don't want to rely on Marchand as your primary scorer. 100% agree. I mean, I love the dude, and if he can pull it off, fantastic. But Marchand, Lundell, Samoskevich, if we go to the points leaders, here, let me share the screen. Agent said Bob's not done. Okay, that's good. So here we go. So Marchand's leading the team in points, 16 points. Lundell's got 11, Samoskevich at 9. Then Reinhart, Rodriguez, Verhaeghe, Luosterainen. So when you look, I mean, you can't have Sam Bennett be all. You can't have Bennett down. What is that? That's like a 30-point pace. He's like on a 30-point pace. That's not going to cut it. Jones and Forsling are ahead of Bennett. Greer is tied with Bennett. Ekblad's about where you would want. And you can't have, I mean, but Bolquist with 2 points in 15 games, that's a spot that needs to get dealt with. But you guys know I have special feelings in my heart for Jesper Bolquist. Not. But I wouldn't have guessed this at the beginning of the year. Marchand, Lundell, Samoskevich, and Reinhart with 1 assist. There's nobody that's putting the puck in the net on that line for him, right? Rodriguez is 3 and 5. That's pretty even. But you're just missing so much from this lineup the way it is right now. Luosterainen's about where you would expect. Verhaeghe is not. And Verhaeghe, like we've talked about, this is the problem right here. That shot percentage. 15-8, 16-8, 14-4, 15-3, 13-8. Got married. 8.3, and then 5.3. Now, we were all kind of hoping this 8.3 here would be an aberration. And look at the plus minus 24, 24, 10, 17. Then all of a sudden last year was minus 14, and he's on pace now for like minus 20. Now, we joke about it with him being married, but something. I just wonder if his shot is different, if he maybe had a shoulder injury or something that they didn't tell us about, because this is a big drop, 13.8 to 8.3, considering his career. But for it to be at 5.3 now, it really starts to make you wonder if there's actually functionally, physically something wrong. He's 30 years old. Oh, boy. He's that magic number. He hit 30 years old. Jeez. David says, I do want some of whatever Marshy's drinking. Right? Yeah, man. Vincent says, Bob, Kaprizov, and Panarin had the same agent, so him and Zito going to grind down $12 million market price. Dave says, can't get assists when no one is scoring. That's true. So, Craig says, Swaggy scores at home, not on the ice. I'm just saying, the dude got married and fell apart. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's his woman's fault, but when I look at those numbers now, that's concerning, because that's a very clear delineation. Vincent says, Verhaeghe looks like a completely different player from 2 years ago. I told you he's gone. I mean, if that happens, look, let's put it this way, Vincent. The way Rodriguez is playing, if they wanted to get out of our cap situation by sending Verhaeghe and Boquist somewhere and we got something in return, I would be okay with that. Mythical says, would you go on a diet of nothing but DQ blizzards until we finish the season and playoffs if we meant we won another cup? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's easy for me. I can't gain any weight, Mythical. That's an easy call for me. Sometimes I have up to 6 peanut butter and jelly waffles a day. And I can't gain any weight because of the lime and the stuff. I'm on for it. So yeah, I'll have ice cream all day long. That's fine. If it guarantees we won another cup, that's easy. Send it. Send it my way. I just can't tell Kyle. Vincent says he doesn't shoot, has no breakaways, and look at him without a puck. I wonder how many. Let me look at his shots. So that's an interesting point. So here's the thing, Vincent. In 23-24, and I don't even know if this is going to prove you right or wrong. In 23-24, he had 246 shots and was 13.8. Last year, he had 242 shots in 5 more games. So a little bit less, but that shot percentage went down. Now, let me see. He's played 15 games, so that's time. He is on pace right now. Holy God. You got a good point here, Vincent. He is on pace right now for easily 50 fewer shots than he was last year. Yeah. He's on a pace right now for an easy 50 shots fewer than he had last year. And, and some of it might be, confidence because the shot percentage is so terrible. David says his wife might be all that in a bag of chips. Yeah, well, so well, that's a bad picture. That you can't. Here you go. Are they going to show it to us? Yeah, here we go. There's his wife. He looking a little bit inebriated here. Wonder if that's at his wedding or whatnot. So that's the culprit. That's the culprit right there. Mike says, Marchand just found new life with us. I think he's just totally stoked to be playing on a winning team. When it's I wonder how he feels right now, Mike, with the Bruins in second place. I wonder if he's like, yeah, I wonder. I mean, he got a cup out of it, so I'm sure he feels it was the right move. Vincent, yeah, he's gone as a player that racks up 40 goals. Gotcha. David says, dated a girl for a year and lost 3 jobs. Too tired to go in. Hey, Burned Oils. Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, I have systemic Lyme burn, so I've had it since 2009. They didn't catch it. I was misdiagnosed. They thought I had MS, so I didn't get the proper treatment. So I have it permanently, basically. David says, I think Marchand will end up a top 25 player of all time, maybe top 20. I was surprised to find out he's not at 1,000 points just yet. Hey, Thomas, I would assume it's going to be Bobrovsky in net tonight. I think that would be my assumption. Craig says, Swaggy also altered his game. He hits people now. And that's true. That's true. He was physical in the playoffs, no doubt. Real says I'd like a culprit. Yeah, I mean, I'm being sarcastic about blaming her, but something changed. Something changed. He doesn't do that slide and shoot anymore. Before it was just automatic, man. Verhaeghe would get that puck at the edge of one circle, and as soon as he made that move, and he was just starting to slide over to the middle. Just change the banner now, Kyle, because that puck's going in the back of the net. You just knew it. There was no question. Now he gets the puck in the power play at the same edge of the circle, and he just does a circle, and he comes back around, and then he looks for somebody to pass the puck to. So it's obvious his confidence has been dinged a little bit too. So, all right, everybody, time to roll. Appreciate everybody hanging out. We will be live at 9:30 with the members podcast or members pregame. For the members, I do a 1/2 hour pregame show before every Panther game. And then 10 o'clock, this is our it's the last 10 o'clock game. I don't know if it's going to be of the year. We probably have some late games still coming up, but at least we're done with the 10 o'clock games now. 4 is enough. 4 is absolutely enough. So go get your rest. Take your nap. Appreciate y'all. And we shall see you. What's that? He's still 8.5 hours away. Oy, I'm ready for 7 o'clock games again.